What's up, everybody? I'm back on Sunday. I think this is like my second Sunday in a row streaming, something like that. I don't know, but I'm excited about this one because this was completely impromptu. I did not expect this one happening today, but I got a very special guest, like always. But today I got someone very special because he's been talking about the EHEX PHEX things for quite a while, and I have a feeling these past couple of days he has been actually pretty happy. He's taken time out of his busy Halloween schedule to come talk with us crypto degens on this channel. So please welcome to the stage, Mr. Johnny Chaos. What's up, buddy?
How's it going? I am sloughing around with the sloth.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we like to take things nice and slow around here, you know. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on, man. I know this is a busy month for you. The orders for all the Halloween stuff I know are flowing in. So thanks for taking your time on your day off to come chat with us.
Well, I'm glad I could schedule you in here. So
Yeah, I've been wanting to have a conversation with you on my channel for a while now. We had a really good conversation months ago at this point on Discourse Syndicate. It was a fun little debate. I enjoyed it a lot. So I know me and you can have some even if it's a little contentious, we can have a really nice conversation that the people will enjoy. You know.
not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah. I know where we went last time, and the question, the thing is nowadays, what I look at is it's not that I had anything against anything. I think
Yeah.
we were talking about the levels of complexity. You
Yep.
know, you can make something that's wonderful and brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if it has a massive layer of complexity, you have now reduced the amount of people that can participate based on their capabilities.
Yep.
So I like I like it when we can focus on things that are easy to understand and that don't cause confusion. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people in our community. We've got some really really smart people.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself been through medical school, right?
Dental school, but yeah.
But you still have to go through medical school. You know what mesial-distal lingo means, right?
I do know what that means. Yes, I
See?
do.
Now, if I were to say mesial-distal lingo to everybody else, they'd be like, "What are you talking about? Are you speaking Greek?" Right?
Kind of.
Hmm. We've you know
Yeah.
we've got a problem in the T12 thoracic. You say stuff like that, it just goes beyond people's understanding. So you got to keep in mind whenever you create something that is complex, that it does limit the amount of participants that even have the ability to participate, and then
Mhm.
you've got to figure out how many of those people are willing to participate.
Just
So it
yep,
just continues to dwindle down that road. So
yep. So each layer of added complexity is like an extra threshold or barrier to entry that you're just going to have attrition at each of those levels. And like you're 100% right. And like I'm one of the people who just love complexity, right? So like things that I can get into mechanics, like working around in my head. And try to understand it. Like I'm the kind of person that enjoys that, but not everybody's like that. And in fact, I'd say most people aren't like that. They want the easy answer. They want the digestible talking point, and then they want you to point where's the button where I can get it on this. I can click it one time and be done. Right? Like
which
that's
button do I hit to
yeah,
make the number go
to
up?
go up.
Please, when
If I hit
land.
this button, if I hit this button, you're telling me I can have a Lambo tomorrow? And it's like, yes, sir, I am. They're gonna click the button like rats taking cocaine.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not Pavlov's dogs. It was Skinner's rats.
Yep.
Skinner's rats. The rat would hit the little button until they died. So
Mm-hmm.
what they did was they hooked up rats to an electrode, and the rat and it was hooked up to his pleasure center in its brain. So what happens when you hook something up to the pleasure center of somebody's brain? They push the button until they die. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's it's really interesting to observe the nature of markets and the psychology in them,
Mm-hmm.
and people's behaviors and the cycles of those
Yep.
behaviors. It's just fascinating, and it's funny. No matter what you do or what
Mm-hmm.
you say, the cycles will repeat. You will see the
Yep.
same behaviors reoccurring over and over and over again. Uh, and it just gets old, man. It's like
Mm-hmm.
deja vu. The veterans get immune to it. It's like, yeah, it's bear market. They're like, but don't you feel the pain? Yeah, it sucks. It's a bear market. It's like you just well, the cycle will never come. Yep, I heard that the last 3 bear markets. Yep, I understand. I got you.
Yep. I mean, even I'm experiencing that. I'm not as seasoned as, like, say, you or the person coming to mind is like Randy Hilarski. He's been talking for a while. He's like, yeah, this is just another bear market. This is what happens. This is just like how crypto goes. And like even now, with a couple years under my belt, I'm starting even with like more like micro projects where you see like similar mechanics, and it's like, okay, this is how this goes generally, and then it happens. I'm like, oh, there's actually like a pretty understandable pattern that happens if you stay in long enough. You can kind of understand what's going on and have general heuristics on like, okay, generally this is probably going to go this way. This is where we are in the cycle, and like nothing new is actually happening.
Yep, the sun will rise tomorrow.
Yep.
And the bear market will eventually end.
Mm-hmm.
And the prices will go up, so
as we've just seen.
And never get comfortable with consistency bias, thinking things are never going to change, because they will.
Yep. Dude, I hear you, man. I mean, even like in the bear market, you feel like it's never, especially if you're new, you feel like, man, this is just never going to end. It's like bad news after bad news, price dump after price dump. And the thing that I've always kept in the back of my head is like, yeah, this is going to bleed out slowly for a while, but man, when it rebounds, it's going to rebound quick. And if I don't have my ticket on that train when it goes off, like I'm just not going to be able to get the same amount that I would have if I just either hold or continue to DCA. It's like,
and there's limited seats on the bus at different price points.
Yep, exactly.
You buy your stadium tickets pre-sale, you get a better deal, right?
Yep.
And as the sale goes on, you have to pay more and more until finally you're at the end and you're paying the scalper to get a seat in the nosebleed section because you can't even get into the theater.
And at that point, if we're talking about like risk management, should you even get in at that point, right? Like it becomes it's this weird dynamic where it's like the time that you want to get in, you want to tell people about it. That's actually the time where you shouldn't be getting in and you shouldn't be telling about it. Like the psychology is so reversed in such a palpable way. It's like, yeah, go ahead.
And the reason why the prices go parabolic is because the bulk of the people come in at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's exponential. And that is the human psychology of perception of value. So they don't think it's worth anything because it's cheap. And then when they see that people are interested in it, everybody tries to rush through the doors like Black Friday and kick everybody in the head to get their share, right? Because everybody does what's popular, right? Why do you think certain brands or certain fashions become popular? Because everybody sees everybody else doing it and they want to be a part of that bigger group. And that's the same thing with crypto is you get that reactivity where people see, oh, well, everybody's doing it. Why do people buy meme coins? Because everybody does it.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Frozen look like he just saw a ghost. he's been making too many Halloween masks lately. Yeah, I mean, even with what you're talking about, it's like almost applies to Hex, like squared in a lot of ways, because it's a Veblen good where it's like the perceived value of it goes up as the value goes up versus like a normal asset where it's like that nice price supply and demand curve where it like hits this nice equilibrium value at some point, which like as the price of Hex goes up, the amount of dollar value of your yield is going up. And so it's like, as it's going up, you're making more money, which makes it more attractive of a value proposition to get in, which gets more people in, which is like the self-fulfilling kind of positive feedback loop that's kind of conducive to bubbles in the first place. But like, and you see your neighbor, oh my gosh, I'm doing my 30-day stakes and like, I'm earning like $5,000 every single month based on my Hex. They're like, I want to earn $5,000 every single month just by like clicking and then clicking one button at the beginning of the month and one button at the end of the month. But then when the price goes down, it's like that same effect, but the opposite. But like, that's the time where you have to position yourself to be able to take advantage of the higher prices later. You have to always have a forward thinking mindset, or at least a fundamental belief that this thing is going to do well in the future to be able to justify the purchases when you most need to make the purchases.
And the gas fees too.
Yep.
So when Hex was at its highest price, so were the gas fees.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually kind of interesting when you think about that, because you would think, oh my God, nobody would participate, right? No, People are spending hundreds of dollars in gas fees just to buy their hex at the top.
Yep.
That is crazy when you think about it.
Yeah. You're
right?
paying $100 just to put your money in and then lose 99% of it.
Yeah.
It's funny to think of it that way.
And it's crazy because you would think there would be less participation when the gas fees were high and the prices were high, but that's not at all how it works. It's exponential, and it is because of that perception of value factor. And like you said, it's really funny when you think about it. Okay, one T-share makes you what, 6 cents?
Yep.
One T-share is only paying you 6 cents a day. Okay, so nobody's impressed with that.
Yep.
But what if it was paying you $6 a day? What if you had 100 T-shares and it paid you $6 a day? Well, now all of a sudden you're making $600 a day. It's interesting, but you get it because you get it when it's 6 cents a day. That's how you get it. But no one's interested in, oh well, I don't want a T-share because it only pays me 6 cents a day. But if you're not projecting what you think the value of hex is going to be in the future, and you're not projecting that's a compounding buildup of inventory, then you won't get it. So let's look at it this way. A T-share used to be 60 cents. So at a 10-cent hex, okay, that was 60 cents every day. So buying that one T-share paid you 60 cents a day. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And it's interesting because you've been in hex obviously since the very beginning. You've been talking about it publicly too this whole time, and I bet it's been interesting to watch like the T-share rate go up so much. I mean, we're at 30,000 hex per T-share, right? Yeah. And the prices is like we're at a penny now on both hexes, and at one point in time there were songs written about hex one day reaching a penny, and now we're there after a whole brutal 2-year bear market, 99% plus dip, fracturing of liquidity across multiple coins, a whole new chain, and we're still at that like psychological level that people dreamed about one day.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty powerful. And then you add on top of that the fact that T-shares are triple as expensive in hex terms as they used to be. It does seem like that kind of the analogy of like the frog and slowly boiling water.
Yeah, and you don't understand how quickly T-shares move until you're in for like 2 years. Yeah. So the slow boiling effect, it takes 2 years to really see where this is going. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens with the T-share rate is we kind of have our own happening. And I'm guessing your following is a little bit more technical than other people's followings, but so we have basically a happening every 2.5 years, which what that means is it's not really a happening. It just means it costs twice as much to get a T-share in hex terms every 2.5 years. So if you wait 2.5 years, it's going to be 60,000 hex for one T-share. Now a T-share you can buy for like $100 today. Okay. What at $1 hex is 60,000 hex per T-share?
$60,000.
$100 to $60,000. So you can buy today something that if hex goes up to $1, you can buy a T-share today for $100 that could cost you $60,000. 2.5 years from now.
Yeah.
Crazy. Exactly. That's $1 for $60,000 value.
That's why I always like to say, because after the bear market, and I think this is a justifiable position to take to a degree, people are much more anti-staking now, because they're like, man, if you were locked up that whole time, you couldn't sell, and then like you've lost all of your value from the run up to the run down. I get where they're coming from to a degree. Like I get why that you have that position, but I think it's still justifiable to stake hex, even like 5555, to make sure that you're hedged against the maximally good scenario, like the situation where hex is multi-dollars, the T-share is 100,000 hex per T-share, and you like, even if you don't like hex, like it's just a fact that the T-share rate goes up, and you can just make the assumption that the dollar value goes up. you want to at least be hedged one T-share 5555 just in case this thing, just like, and we can make a lot of arguments on why this is like probable, but even if you don't want to, if you want to give that away to the opposing side, just in case, have that one T-share all the way maxed out so that you have that hedge, because you're not going to be able to get that T-share ever again once once you get past this certain threshold. The hex price is too high and the T-share rate is too high. It's just not going to be feasibly possible with new money to get a single T-share, even if you leverage all of your time.
See, you don't know when to sell. Nobody knows when to sell. Okay. This is the big problem that you have. Let's go back in Bitcoin. Okay. If you bought Bitcoin for a penny, when would you sell? If you bought Bitcoin for a penny today and, it started, the cycle started all over again, when would you sell? Would you sell at 10 cents, at $1, $10, $100, $1,000? When would you sell? It's $30,000 today. Do you think the people that bought it at a penny thought it would go as high as almost $70,000? Of course not. So how would they have possibly been able to maintain those coins through that climb? That climb. Can you imagine if Hex did the same thing? How would you hold on to it? How do you know when to sell? Well, that's what the staking mechanism is for. It's to take money that you don't need right now to send to your future self. And if you're not supposed to, sell your house and car and everything and throw it in there. This is supposed to be for money that you don't need right now that you can afford to send to your future self. Like you said, what if it does do crazy numbers? Nobody would have predicted Bitcoin did that. These are crazy people working out of their basement, man. Nobody knew what these guys were doing. They weren't exactly the most socially adept individuals on the face of the planet. They were weird, crazy guys in the basement running their computers and heating up the house, But they were onto something, and even they would have never predicted like $1 trillion market cap, not back then. That seemed kind of crazy. Okay. So in order to know when to sell, that's what the staking ladders are for, and that's why they're important. It's so that you will be there when the opportunity does hit, just in case it reaches prices that you can't imagine. So I like to say, when people are like, well, don't you wish you sold at 40 cents? No, because by the time we're back to 40 cents, my bag's going to be 5x larger, and I'll be able to sell 1/5 of my bag and still keep the rest. So I'll be able to make the same amount of money that somebody else sold at 40 cents and still have a bag and not be out. The person that sold 40 cents and dumped their whole bag, they got to get back in at some point.
Yep.
Maybe in this case, they got lucky. They could buy back in at a penny. They got lucky. Okay. Next time, they might not be lucky, because some of these things, they take off and they don't come back. Are you going to go back and buy $100 Bitcoin? You're going to buy $1,000 Bitcoin? You going to take that chance on whether or not you can go back and buy at those prices?
Yep. There's something really powerful about just locking in your trade. Essentially, what it is, like if you do a 5555 stake, you're essentially saying, I'm buying now, and I'm going to give myself the ability to execute the other side of the trade in 15.2 years. Right? You're just locking yourself into the trade that you're making. And the perspective that you bring that I really appreciate and that I empathize with a lot is one of a collector. Right? Like I've seen multiple tweets where you have all these collectibles on your wall and you basically say, I bought these because I value them. And if you don't give me the price that I think that this is worth, they're going to stay on this wall. If I never get the price, this is exactly where they're going to be, because I value these things higher than what the market does. And I was watching an unboxing of an original 1999 first edition Pokemon like trading card set. It's like 90 grand for this, right? And these things are just flooded on the shelves at the time, being bought for like 20, 30 bucks. So there's like 90 grand worth of future value just on the Target shelf, on the Walmart shelf, being tossed around. Nobody's valuing these things at that price. Yet you go jump ahead 20 years later, 15 years later, all of a sudden each of one of these things is a whole like 4 years of college tuition. you can pay off your debt with it. And it's like this, there's always this disconnect between the way in which we value things now and the potential of what they could be valued in the future. And you kind of have to have experience, like for you as like a collector, and me seeing this with like trading card games and with like Yu-Gi-Oh, that was the big thing that I was in. You realize like, okay, nobody can be pricing these things correctly today as what they could be priced tomorrow. So I want to form my own internal valuation of what I think these are actually worth, put it on the shelf, and then wait for them to give me the price that I want. And you have to put yourself in the position to do that, because if you leverage your house, sell your car, give away your kids' college money, you're not going to be in the position of leverage to be able to wait to get the price that you want or the price that you think it's worth, because you're going to be forced to sell when the price is lower because you needed that money for X, Y, or Z.
I had the same experience with Magic cards.
Yep.
And my experience with the Magic cards was, it was a game that we were playing when I was a teenager, and nobody wanted it. It was a weird, obscure thing that was a little different. It was better than playing normal cards back in the day, and we were all kind of gamers and into different type stuff there. And we played this game called Magic Cards. Well, we even played what was called Iron Man Magic. So when a card was destroyed, the card was destroyed. Okay,
that's awesome.
Iron Man Magic. So you'd have to go back and buy a deck of cards and get your cards replaced if you're playing. And there were people that would literally put like all the shatters and disenchants and stuff like that in there. Can you imagine getting a Mox or a Lotus disenchanted and playing Iron Man Magic and tearing it in half? Back then it was nothing. Back then it was nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. A Mox is worth like $10,000 now. Okay. So when we were playing the game had no prices. If you traded trading cards, you traded cards for cards. I want one of those and one of those and one of those. I'll give you one of these. Okay. And that's a lot of what crypto actually is. And that's why it should be treated as such, because it's not money really until you put it in your bank account, because you are literally trading one pitcher for another pitcher and you're playing a game. But anyway, the point is, there was a local store and they had like 40 boxes of Arabian Nights on the shelves. And like I said, they sat there for months. Nobody cared, Yep. A couple of us bought boxes and stuff. I've actually had a full set of Arabian Nights at one time that I sold. When I got out of the game, but that's because the rules changed to the game and everything changed in the game, and they started banning cards and it just got ridiculous. But the point being is, nobody knew that this little obscure thing would turn into what it did. But with Hex, we do know. You know how we know? Look at the amount of enthusiasm. Look at the amount of people wearing their colors. Look at the amount of people that are online talking about it regularly. It's like that video that like Gary showed, the one guy dancing by himself and then everybody keeps coming in. That's what happens when you go viral. When people decide that it's a good idea and they see other people doing it and they want to be a part of that thing, that's when things really take off. When it becomes the popular thing to do. Why did everybody hate on Hex immediately? From the beginning, it was the popular thing to do. Well, it's not so popular now, is it? What's pretty popular is to join the team win. That's what's popular. That's going to get more popular. All it takes is a few of those green candles, and we're going to start seeing it. It's contagious.
Yep. I think, we got a nice little prelude these last couple of days, but I think, I was looking at the EHEC chart. It was like literally straight vertical. It was crazy. I haven't seen a pump like that in quite a while. And what's been happening right now is pretty germane to a lot of things you've been talking about since the Pulse Chain launch, and even months beforehand, because you've been talking about the EHEX PHEX things and parity for a long time. And I know you kind of got thrust a little bit more into the spotlight with some contentious debate about it. But you must be feeling pretty vindicated with this recent, basically 90% pump of EHEX versus PHEX. How's that feeling for you? Tell us your thoughts around that.
I expected it. I didn't expect it that quick. I didn't expect it to be sort of a no overnight thing. But I think that had we been paired immediately, it would have probably saved a lot of contention to begin with. We would have never had that argument. I don't think it's helpful to have a PHEX EHEX debate. It was never helpful. It just creates division. And I never, people like this, kind of redirect that and say, well, I'm picking one side or the other. No, I'm just buying the cheap one. I'm agnostic. I'll buy the cheap one. I want the one that's the better deal, period. If they're both the same deal, then, hey, what's nice about that is, if liquidity is being provided and it's going into stronger hands, that's being removed off the market for both hexes, which is great. That's being absorbed. So, yeah, it's not that I ever questioned that it wouldn't happen, So I'm to be excited about it. Not really. It's kind of what I expected to happen. I guess I just didn't expect it to happen that quickly. And of course, because it moves so quickly, you get an automatic knee-jerk reaction where things are going to bounce back a bit because people are trying to. They're you got a lot of people migrating now that they can just emergency unstake and then move their pulse over to the chain that they want to be on. So you'll notice on the EHEX side that we got like $50 million worth of, 50 million.
50 million hex.
57 million hex just got nuked. So that is less hex that's on the market. I'm excited about that. 50% of that's off the market. The rest of it is deferred deflationary to the future. So that's great that happened because that's removed from the market. That makes it even thinner over there. Because eventually, guys, if you keep emergency unstaking your stuff, you don't have anything left to sell. And since everybody kind of picked the chain, I knew that the available of dumpable was missing over there, right?
Yeah.
So it's it's it is what it is, man. It turned out. I mean, I'm just I wish people would have took the advice of don't make the BTCH mistake and choose one because you had a 50% chance of being wrong. If you would have just held both, you had a 100% chance not to sell the wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's one thing underlying kind of assumption or presupposition of everything you just talked about that allowed you to be in a position of power during the fork. And that's the fact that, you have hex staked out for over a decade. Right. Yep. So, and it's 1-to-1 on both the Pulse Chain and Ethereum side. So it's like 1-for-1 from the fork. That's what the fork was. And so, you see, oh man, all this cheap EHEX over here. Let me take my PHEX, swap it like 2-for-1 over here. Well, it's like, you made the wrong trade. You're still staked out and you're still winning long term. Yep. And so the staking mechanism allowed you to be in a position of power for you to exercise your thesis on what you believe is going to happen or how you personally value the coins. To do it from a position of power versus a position of, say, scarcity, where it's like, I have to, if this trade doesn't go my way, I'm rinsed and I lose like half of the value of my portfolio.
Staking ladders first, people. Staking ladders first. You want to screw around, that's fine. But the staking ladder ensures that you're going to be around. So if the prices do hit higher price points, you're there when they happen.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're not going to be there when they happen. Can you imagine? Can you even imagine holding on to a coin that does 10,000x? Where do you tap out? You bought hex at 0.00056. How long could you hold it?
Yep. It's that classic meme. Man, I wish I held I spot BTC at 8 cents. I sold it at, I don't know, $3. Now it's $8. I really wish I held on to it. And now BTC is like, over 5 figures,
Yeah.
which is the whole funny part about the tweet. It's that same concept.
Greg, the Greg guy. Matty still talks to him. Matty.
Oh, really?
Him. He doesn't hold crypto anymore.
Really? Wow. No. That's crazy.
He works. He's not retired. He's still a computer guy.
Mm-hmm.
He works on computers.
Yep.
So, I mean, people look at this, okay? People will go party on the weekends and they'll spend hundreds of dollars on booze. Okay? People will go to the casino and spend hundreds and thousands of dollars going to the casino. People will spend, I've seen people stand in line and buy 20, 30 scratch-off tickets. Why not? Why not get yourself a T-share and send it to your future and forget about it? See what happens. Why not?
Yep.
Because the people that did best in Bitcoin lost their keys and found them years later. Those are the people that did the best in Bitcoin. And Hex was designed with the staking mechanism in order to do just that, is to incentivize you to do the right behaviors.
Yeah. And, for me, when it comes getting to this concept of like, how long are you going to hold? Well, at any point, if you sell and you do plan to get back in at some point, that's a whole nother decision you have to make. Right. So it's like you've made this decision to sell. You've decided this is where I think this is the highest value is going to go in the medium term, short to medium term, and I'm going to buy back in lower. But then you have a whole extra decision you got to make on when to rebuy back in. And at least for me, when you start amplifying those decisions over time, it fatigues you, right? It's like decision fatigue. You can only make so many decisions before you become taxed so much that the probability of you making the wrong decision starts going up. So just knowing that I have some of my, I built my staking ladder when I first got into Hex pretty early. It's set out like one coming out every year for 15 years for the most part. It's a modest bag, but it's given me so much security mentally, just knowing like, okay, I know I have this stuff coming out every year, and no matter what I do, if I completely fumble my bag or if I just get too tired of making decisions, I know that this stuff is coming out and I'm hedged for price to go up in the future over a 15-year period. And there's some real security behind that.
Here's what you do. You want to know how trading works? Get yourself a coin like this. It's going to go up or down, heads or tails, right? Flip it 10 times and see how many times you get it right. That's how trading goes. One of those times, if you keep doubling down, you're going to lose. And that's what people do. They double down until they lose. So you got to get out of the habit of utilizing your whole bag. Number one, that's the first thing. You need to have money set aside. Hex is a savings account. You want to fumble your bag? Give yourself a bag to fumble with. Give yourself a bag. Give yourself 10% to play around with. Sami likes to say, "Here's your lottery bag," or whatever. Give yourself a bag to fumble around with if you know that you need that hit. You know that you need to take that risk. But in the meantime, you put some of your money aside and see how it does. And Coffee did a wonderful video that, everybody bragging about timing the market and I got this right and ha. A bot would have outperformed you. A bot would have outperformed you. Just buying every week, regardless of what the price was, $100 a week, $5,000 at the end of that would have been like $100,000 if you would have bought the first year, and he's got a good video on that for people to watch. So you find out that what happens is there's only this small window of time where the price is like sky high. The rest of the time, it's substantially lower than that. So if you're buying over time, you're buying substantially lower than what that high ever was. So even if you bought once at that all-time high, the majority of your purchases have all been down here at the baseline. So that's how when it pumps the next time, guess what? You're up. You're up because you might have lost on that one day of trading, just that one day of trading. But if you're consistent in building your bag, you're going to be there for that next pump.
Yep. Can you do I saw you have that coin there. Can you do a French drop for us?
For the what?
Yeah, French drop.
The French drop.
French drop. Oh, I thought you did. I for some reason I remember you doing magic. Like you know how to do like sleight of hand and stuff, right? You doing coin stuff?
Oh,
Yeah.
where I was just going. Oh yeah. The coin disappears. Yeah.
Yeah. I've also I've dabbled into card magic sleight of hand stuff myself. So I always enjoy your videos where you do some sleight of hand.
That's funny because I didn't know the actual terminology for that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
French drop, interesting.
French drop. Yeah, hold on. I'll see if I can. I'll do it. I'll do it for you guys so you can see. I'm not as good as I used to be. Let me get the right angle. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. Trying this way. Yeah, right there. You just grab it
on film and see what happens, right?
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Okay. How about this one?
Yeah, let's see it.
You guys, here we go. Okay, you ready? You paying attention here? Watch very carefully. Watch very carefully here. You think you're holding a poker chip, right? Right. You think you're holding a poker chip? Hey, look very carefully. You are actually holding a diamond all along.
I like it. That's pretty cool. Hold on. I'll raise you one more with the cards, and then we'll move on. Ready?
Go ahead. You get your screen is screwing with it. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. That's how I do it. I get the screen to do the cover up for me. Here we go.
That's effective. Oh, very nice.
Yep.
Now you got to do my trick with the cards and have the right.
Yeah, I should have borrowed from the club.
You think you're holding a marble?
Oh man. Well, Johnny, excuse me. Tell us a little bit about like where do you think we are with like Pulse Chain launch? You know, it was a whole 2 year of like it was 2 years of 2 more weeks. It was basically 4 more weeks of Hex round 2, and now we've had like about 5 months of since the launch, 5 months of price action. Where's your head at with where we're at in the Pulse Chain ecosystem right now? And what are you most excited about?
I'm interested in seeing what happens when we have all these additional platforms to lock things up.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see the supply shock happen. Mm-hmm. What am I really most excited about? I want to see these people that have suffered through this 2 years win with us. Yeah. That's really what I want to see. I want the green candles back because, for me, people are like, well, yeah, everybody's in it for themselves, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but I can't capitalize on it anyway. I mean, I've got my bag to play around with, but that's not really important to me. I can't really take out anything significant for a couple years anyway. So it doesn't really matter, but I want to see the happy faces of the people that have been following us get to enjoy this ride with us. We've been telling them, look, once this party gets started, you're not going to get a bus on the seat if you don't get on, and I want to see people enjoying the ride. I want to see the excitement again. I want to see people happy again. I mean, this bear market has beat the tar out of just about everybody. There are people that over leveraged. There are people that got positions that they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have gone that hard. And you can't tell people not to do that. Because it's like RG's buddy Mikey. He was buying the top. He bought the wrong. He bought at the wrong time. But he continued to dollar cost average in, and his break even points greatly reduced now. But that's hard, man. It's always hard to watch people that had bought at the top and the misery and stuff they go through, and then they tap out. You don't want to see people quit. You don't want to see people give up on their dreams and on their goals and everything. It's just a different vibe. I miss that vibe about the community. I mean, mind you, we had people that obviously did not know how to manage their money and just blew it all, right?
Yeah.
And people have the idea that, well, that makes them the winners because they got a bunch of whole stuff. Yeah, they got a whole bunch of stuff, but now what? They don't have any income. They quit their jobs, they bought a bunch of stuff, and now they don't have incomes. How many people? I want people to lose the lottery mentality. I want people to think, of saving for their future and planning, because lottery winners seldom make it. Money is not the solution. It's not hard to get money. It's hard to keep money. And what I like about Hex is the fact that it has a value proposition that allows you to carry it through the long haul. And it's not some centralized platform that can just throw a switch and say, you're not getting paid anymore. It will always pay you. The market will decide the price, but the contract will always pay you.
Yep. No matter what.
No matter what. And I mean, people need that because you never know. I mean, like I said, you could have the best invention in the world, but if it doesn't gain adoption, it doesn't gain adoption, right? Yeah. I think Hex is something that people really need because, for someone like myself that runs my own business, if I don't work, I don't get paid.
What if it's the same for dentists, right? If I'm not in the chair, doing fillings, doing procedures, I'm not getting paid.
If I'm sick, who's going to do my work for me? Same kind of thing, right? And I've had downtime when I couldn't do anything, and it's like, wow, I'm not getting paid. I gotta go hustle,
Yeah. And it's not just that for your work, but when you say you have to do something, you say you're going to create something, you have to, because if you don't, it's like your reputation and no one else is going to hire you for something. So it's like when you're working, you don't have a choice but to do what you said you're going to do. And if you're not doing it, you're not making money.
Yeah. And you could only take jobs you can do. Yeah. And in the crypto space, you can literally just make up some story and collect money. I mean, it's absolutely absurd, but that's how it is,
The ICO days where you could just have a website and get $1 million.
Yeah. Post a website. Done. Boom. Look like the money come in. Okay. Bye, guys. Nice knowing you. Who was the guy that ran off with the money? Nobody knows. I mean, look at Bitcoin. How crazy would you have to be to get into Bitcoin? I mean, this anonymous random guy makes this paper and posts that he's going to do this thing, and nobody knew who he was, and he owned all the coins. How crazy did you have to be to think that was going to go anywhere? Years later, what? It's almost damn near 70,000, and people are talking about this thing going up to $100,000. Let me get this straight. One of these digital assets is going to be worth more than a house? Crazy, or a really expensive car. But you get, it's still who would know that? Who would have the foresight to see that? Okay, so crazy man doing outrage marketing, buys big diamond, drives cars, talks about his wang. Okay, that that seems pretty crazy to me. But you know what?
Yeah, the code works. Oh man, my two favorite things of Richard is him twerking on the stage with three things: twerking on the stage, him being on the stripper pole on Fresh and the Fit Con, and then the truck that says Big PP on it. Those are my three favorite things. People show me the picture, they're like, Sloth, this is the guy that you put your money with? I'm like, absolutely. And you should too.
Hey, Richard only talks about his. Charles got a picture of him holding his. Get it?
Yeah. Oh man, that's pretty good. But yeah, I'm also excited for all these other protocols to launch, both because it has other places for the money to go. Like all the borrowing and lending platforms is just another way to earn yield, just a little bit more liquid. I'm really excited for the V3 dexes to come over. I think the ability to have concentrated liquidity, at least for someone like me who likes to dive into, find the nitty gritty complex ways to kind of unlock a little bit of extra income while also servicing the market and providing a service. I'm really excited about that. And I think Pulse Chain is really going to shine when we get some of these more complex DeFi tools online and working.
What is the V3 that's coming over? The V3 version, is that going to be 9-inch?
9mm. 9mm is the one that I'm aware. I know 9mm, they're poising to launch pretty soon. And then I know Rags to Riches, him and Crypto Heartbeat, they're doing Freedom Swap. And I know that they're going to do a V3 DEX. I don't know if 9-inch is doing a V3 DEX off the top of my head. I'd have to double check.
So this is how out of the loop I've been for the season. I did not know about 9mm, and I did not know about
Freedom Swap.
Freedom Swap. So that's funny. So there's two more on top of that. So these are all mechanisms to lock liquidity which when you lock liquidity, you are removing coins from the market.
Yep.
Now they're still liquid, right? So if you get a price pump, and people decide to sell their coins, that can change, but it allows the price pump to happen because that is less liquid on the market. And I like that. So that's good. The other thing is, even though I'm not a big person or advocate for lending platforms, they do have their purpose. And once again, that is an alternative to direct sell pressure.
Yep.
And in low liquidity events, for someone who's, I mean, it's, for that gives a lot of options instead of people just hitting the sell button like a monkey. But I think we've eliminated a lot of those people that are going to hit the sell button like a monkey. I think we've eliminated a lot of that, especially on the Ethereum side. I know everyone likes to bring up the Bank X thing again. They'd like to bring that. But as I was saying on Seven's show, guess what, guys? There's a Bank X in every coin. Every single coin, there's one wallet that could drive the price near zero for a day. And that's all they can do. And then they're out and they're gone. And it's not worth getting worked up over, because if you're staked for 2 years, what do you care what the price is for a week? You're not, because your stuff is not coming out 2 years from now. So that being staked like that, it just doesn't bother you. Is 100 million hex being dumped on the market going to bother anybody? No, we've had 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million get dumped on. It happens all the time. These are markets, guys. People buy and sell. That's what they do. The only thing that matters is, are there more participants that are interested in buying up that discount? As long as there are people interested in buying up that discount, it's fine. It
just takes a little time, little more time. That's all it takes.
And I mean, even if they sold tomorrow and they flash crash the price, I personally have on speed dial enough people that could buy it back up and put that $1 million back in there. So what's the worry? The only fight there is who hits the button first and gets the cheapest price, because as you buy, the price goes right back up. So the first person that buys at the bottom gets the best price. The next person gets the next price. The next person gets the next price. It's like, back to that stage ticket analysis, where we're talking about, you get the nosebleed seats at the end from the scalper because you waited too long. So if you know that the price is going to go up, or you believe the price is going to go up, or the odds are that the price is going to go up over time, it doesn't really matter, because the only true way to catch a bottom is to ride that falling knife. People say you don't want to catch a falling knife. Well, if it's not ever going to go back up, then you don't want to ride the falling knife all the way down. But even things that have gone bankrupt and their founders are in prison, they've gone bankrupt, and they closed down their exchanges, there are no websites whatsoever, it's still pumping. Do you know BitConnect still has a value?
I think Luna's still going, man.
And Luna's still going, yeah. So I mean, you look at this stuff that should be like totally gone, and it's still not gone, and you think that something like Hex is just going to disappear. How much lower we got to go? If you want to catch the bottom, you have to buy the way down. You buy the way down, and that's how you get the bottom. So if you're the last person that buys at the bottom, if you buy the last seller sell, you now have the bottom.
You've made the bottom yourself.
Made the bottom.
You made the bottom. Yeah, I hear you, man. There's something I was going to say about that. The thing I want to say about having the V, I think Pulse Chain is actually in a really unique situation with the way its liquidity set up. Because on Ethereum, most of the liquidity is on the V3. And before Pulse Chain, most of Hex's liquidity was on Uniswap V3. And if you remember, right before the Pulse Chain V3 testnet launch, we were in this weird range at about 7 to 8 cents, where the price indicated that it wanted to go higher, but there was this big liquidity gap between 7 cents and 20 cents. And so no one wanted to push the price up against themselves, basically a 2x, and eat up all that slippage to get to the next level of liquidity support. And that's kind of one of the problems of V3. And we've seen most of Hex's price pumping is in V1, V2 Uniswap liquidity models where you have price from 0 to infinity, X times Y equals K. And so like V3, as great as it is for passive income and efficient liquidity providing, there is a downside to it where you can have price being trapped by low liquidity zones.
Yes.
And I think with Pulse X being a V2 system, with the incentive token being like the main token for the farming and getting a lot of liquidity from 0 to infinity, both with Pulse and then Hex to Pulse and all of those things. And then you have third-party people providing the V3 DEX to provide those concentrated pockets of liquidity. It's like we get the best of both worlds. Where us as the retail user, we can exploit the V3 to be able to get more fees, exit positions in a tight range, enter positions in a tight range. But also we have those gaps of liquidity serviced by the PulseX V2 style of liquidity across all different prices. So it's like we get the best of the price pump and we get the best of the concentrated liquidity.
Yeah,
that's something I don't think I've ever seen on any other L1, at least in the same way that we have right now. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, it can kind of be counterproductive to a certain extent too, because depending on how large the liquidity pools are, which they are large, PulseX would actually dampen some of the pump potential. However, what you've got is that cross-chain pumpage where you have that. This is where people get pissed off because they don't want to hear it. But the fact that it takes 1/10 of the size of the orders to pump the Ethereum side versus 10 times the amount to pump the Pulse side. But you get the best of both worlds there, like what you're talking about, because of the cross chain. So when eHex pumps, you get that pump translated over to the Pulse side. And it pumps everything over there. So that's pretty cool too. But we're going to have to see. It's going to get interesting because we're going to have aggregators that are going across multiple things. It's good for Pulse because we are going to have more transactions. We're going to have more loops of things going around and around and around. So we're eventually going to have bots over there firing. I don't know if we have bots now or not. Like I said, I'm not really.
We have a DEX aggregator already on Pulse Chain, right?
Yeah.
He had
Piteous.
Yeah. Piteous, Piteous, whatever, however you pronounce it. Have you heard of Tetra yet?
Yeah. That's programmable. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one because it's going to make, like you said, a lot of those loops that people are creating. It's going to make them automated, and so you kind of get some like basal level of volume for like very simple things. You kind of get that programmed into the chain a lot. So like the not the TVL, but the daily volume. I think when Tetra launches, it's probably going to inflate the daily volume a bit because so many of the things that people would be doing, say, once a week, maybe they program it, do it once a day or once every 2 or 3 days. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to take a look at. But I mean, see, I'm set. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm set. Anything that I do now is merely for entertainment purposes. It's and curiosity just to see how things work. But I see a lot of activity coming, and sometimes you can give somebody just too many choices of things to do, and you just get doing too much, right? So I'm hoping our streamers start to simplify things a little bit for people, and as we were talking about, the levels of complexity are just too deep for most people to comprehend, and they'll their eyes are just going to glaze over when they hear some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Franklin's chiming in here. He goes, Johnny's been waiting to talk his shit.
Yeah. Johnny's coming out. He's coming out swinging. He's like, I told you, fuckers.
I did not even once say that during this thing. I did not even once say, you want me to say it? I done told you. There you go.
I done told you.
I said it. Now everybody can lose that. You got it out.
Kaiser, where are you at, buddy? You can go clip that. I know he's around here somewhere. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm on the same page as you. I'm excited about all the stuff that's coming. For me, I'm still one of my kind of one of my ethoses or goals of my channel is to like go deep into the complex things, understand it, and then present it in a more digestible format publicly, so that more people have access to some of these DeFi tools, or at least can make an informed decision on whether they want to invest or how to participate in the more complex protocols, like a Hedron and Icosa, for example. That's kind of that's the thing that I enjoy and that I try to do a lot on my channel here.
Well, the fun thing is, I mean, if you, this is what I recommend for the streamers. Okay. When I am in the research and development department and I'm talking to chemists and I'm talking to people like that, doctors and chemists and surgeons and, stuff like that, I have a different vocabulary.
Yep.
And, it's like, people, we'll almost have to dumb it down, because the average person is just not going to relate. The more clear and concise you are, the more things that you can say that relate to the average person are going to allow them to relate better to you. If I wanted to talk about polyfoams and isocyanates and carbon and barium sulfate and it doesn't you get into conversations with normal people and they're just like I don't get it, right? Just like you can talk about dentistry to normal people and talk about composite relevant. Everyone's got expertise that other people don't have, so you've got to meet people where they are and talk in a way that's easily accepted. If you talk too smart, what happens? People are like, oh, he's a smarty pants, I don't want to talk to that guy. It's so funny.
You turn people off when you start like trying to be smart in front of people, and that's something like, a skill that I'm working on more and more every day with my patients, right? Because like I have this whole vocabulary in my head when I go through like the diagnostic process, collecting data, and in my head I'm talking like, okay, we have carries this far deep, I need to do X, Y, Z, and it's all like in lingo in my head. But when I talk to my patient, I have to translate that into words that they'll understand, but also that's still accurate to what's going on, because I need to get informed consent. Like they have to understand what I'm telling them. If not, I can't do the procedure, because technically that's assault if they're agreeing to something that they don't understand. And so it's a very unique skill to go deep into something, understand the jargon intimately, but then being able to walk that lingo back and then translate it into everyday common language, but still capture the idea, the essence of what's actually going on for the people who don't have access to that jargon.
Yeah. Because you don't want somebody to have to bust open a thesaurus to translate what you're trying to tell them. I can tell you a funny story, because like we never really talked baby talk to our kids. And my kid at 3 years old was standing in line with me at the store, and she pointed at something. She goes, "Dad," she goes, "that is absolutely ridiculous." And like everybody standing around, we're looking around at her, and like, because 3-year-olds don't, they say silly. They don't say ridiculous, right? And she pronounced it, just perfectly fine. And people are just looking around like, how old's your baby? And my sister was talking at 6 months old.
Oh wow.
So my mom would be carrying her, and they'd have conversations in the store and stuff. So it was, really threw people off. But well, I don't know, man. I come from an era where being smart, you were a geek, so you always had to sort of play stuff down. So and I've always liked people underestimating me or making an assumption that I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm kind of cool with that, actually. So
I was about to say, you had a LARP as a normie your whole life. Yeah.
So I mean, that's kind of normal, right? So but again, when you're in a professional setting, you gotta talk the talk, you gotta talk the lingo, and
they're not gonna take you seriously.
But if you're a streamer and you're trying to reach a larger crowd, and you're trying to reach a larger audience and grow your channel and spread your word, you got to dumb it down.
Yeah.
That's it. That's just how it is. And you know why? You know why the mainstream crypto influencers are so successful?
Because they do that.
Because a lot of them aren't so bright to begin with.
They're not translating anything. They're just talking normal.
The website, man. That's like, oh, let's talk about this coin. Let's look at their website. It says blah 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 blah. Look at me. I can read. I can read. That's what
next
mainstream
5 hidden 100x gems I'm gonna tell you about.
Here's a list from my sponsors.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what it's been, man. It's what it's been, and sadly enough, that's actually successful.
Yeah,
because all you have to have is a smiling face and a bubbly personality, and read from the screen, and people like it. It works.
Yep,
it really does.
Yep. Yeah, it's been funny actually. Now since my audience has grown a bit and my socials have increased, I've actually gotten some like solicitation on like, hey, have you been on this trading platform before? If you give this referral, you get 60% of all trading fees forever.
Yep.
And it's like actually like a lot of money that you could get by doing this stuff. Like it's a very
lucrative
business
money, man. It's a major blood money. To not have referral links, you could be giving up a mansion. I mean, for real, right? So for us guys not to be tempted by feeding our followers to these leverage links, to not be tempted, that's tough, right?
Yeah.
Let's say it's tough if you needed it, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
it's not tough for me.
It's still a tempting thing,
Yeah, it's not an ethical thing to do by any means. Like you'd never find me shilling like a centralized leverage trading platform affiliate link because it's just not what I want my brand associated with. But like, also if I started doing that, I would lose my followers because I would lose credibility, right? Like I'm here talking about like custodying your own crypto, doing DeFi the proper way with good security, good risk management, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden, like, hey, go click my Bybit link and go start doing 30x leverage trading. Like no one's gonna listen to me anymore. And they shouldn't. Like, if I start doing that, you should unsubscribe and go somewhere else with better information.
Yeah, maybe Francis Finance should put up some real links and actually work somewhere or something.
That would be funny.
I could keep doing the parody about it, but then people that actually believe that, might actually click the links. I might actually make a little money on it. But
wouldn't that be the ultimate irony?
That would
be the ultimate irony.
I stand against it, but Francis, he's all right. He can go ahead and do that because we know he's a creep because we play him as a creep. So that
can you imagine you buy yourself a second? I don't know. What did you buy around the hex stop? It was like a go-kart.
My go-kart.
Yeah, your go-kart. Buy a second one with your Bybit money from Francis. Your gift from Francis.
Francis gets his own. Yeah. Francis gets his own. Francis Mobile. He finally.
I love those videos, man.
If he gets those referral links, he can finally move out of mom and dad's basement.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well,
I wanted to do one where he goes, "Mom, can you give me a hot pocket? I'm down here streaming."
Oh, that would be beautiful. Oh man, I wish I could get someone to bring me hot pockets while I stream. That would be so nice. I would stream for so much longer.
Gotta get some food, man. Gotta get some food.
I know, right? The sparkling water, it doesn't quite give me the energy that the hot pocket does.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Johnny, I think this has been an incredible conversation, man. I had an absolute blast. Thank you for coming on, man.
Well, hopefully we get you some views, man. It's been fun. Again, I know our debate was a little wild back in the day, but again, it was just
it was fun. I had fun.
Yeah, I sometimes sound ornery, and I'm not even being ornery. I just have a kind of unique way of putting things.
Yeah. Well, no, that was a good conversation for me to flex my debate muscles a little bit. Like I don't take offense to people having different opinions than me, or even like putting tension against the things that I'm saying. That's something I actually welcome. And so it was nice to, for once, like being able to kind of be in a more contentious conversation where I have to defend a viewpoint with like sound logic and like facts and stuff like that. I don't do that very often publicly. So like I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity to do that, man.
And I have a lot of respect for Alex. He has done a lot of stuff for the community, and he put together what he did, and that's bonus coins that he's handing out to the community. He's put together validators, and he's been working behind the scenes and trying to offer value.
Yep.
And it's on a very deep level of complexity, which is just why, because Alex thinks like Alex, Gigabrain. Not everybody's going to be on his level to understand what he's trying to do or what he's trying to build, and that's hard. That's hard to market, and that's the thing. And again, I think he's a great guy. He's done a lot for the community. He's done donations. He's done, he's a real strong pillar of the community, and he created what he created literally to add value to the ecosystem. How people use the tools that are provided, it's a different story than the person's intent who created it.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think that's fair. Yeah. And obviously I'm a big fan of Alex. I like the things that he's created, and I'm excited for what he's continuing to build. I'm excited to cover it too. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, Johnny, tell us where we can find you, man. I know you're the anti-influencer here, but tell us where people can give you their attention.
CCFX Studios on the Twitter.
Yep.
That's it.
And I posted
occasionally on guest on somebody else's show.
Yep. And everybody, I posted Johnny's Twitter link in the description below, so definitely go give him a follow, especially if you want to see the next installment of Francis, the crypto influencer. that's where you can check it out. My socials are also there below, and if you go down to the bottom of the description box, I have a link to my calendar. So if you want to book a 15-minute call with me at any point where there's an availability, feel free to do that. We will talk about anything that you choose. Completely free and first come, first serve. So if that's something that's interesting, if that's something that is interesting to you, it's in the description box. Johnny, thanks again, man. I hope we can have another conversation in the near future. As things evolve, we get more green candles and another go-kart in store. Maybe I'll get a matching one.
We'll go go-kart racing together, man.
I like it.
Today we're gonna do it.
Oh yeah. All right, everybody. That's it for us. Peace out.